You know that feeling, right? That sort of uncanny moment when something you've been thinking about, something deep inside, suddenly shows up outside you
Absolutely.
in a way that's just, well, it feels too perfect to be random.
Mm-hmm.
Like a song plays on the radio with the exact message you needed, or you bump into someone you were just about to call.
Yeah. Or a book falls open to just the right page.
Exactly. It just clicks.
Yeah.
And it feels like, more than just coincidence. We've all experienced it, I think. It makes you pause.
It really does. It's a powerful experience, those moments.
Mm.
When the external world seems to perfectly mirror your internal landscape.
Yeah.
And it often leaves us searching for some kind of explanation, something beyond just, well, chance.
Right. It's that feeling that maybe there's a deeper pattern playing out.
Yeah.
And that is precisely what we're digging into today here on The Deep Dive. We take your curiosity, your insights, your questions, and we really try to immerse ourselves in them. So today we're unpacking some really fascinating personal reflections on this phenomenon, synchronicity.
Synchronicity, yeah.
Yeah.
That thing that makes us all pause and wonder.
Exactly. And our mission for you, our listener, is to try and give you a clear, comprehensive understanding of this, well, elusive concept, straight from the source material we're looking at.
We'll explore what it is, how it seems to function according to these notes.
And maybe most importantly, what role we play in it all, if any.
Right. And, before we dive into the specifics, it's really fundamentally important to get the spirit of the source material here.
Okay.
These aren't being presented as, like, absolute scientific laws or unchangeable truths.
Not like a textbook definition.
No, exactly. They're framed as personal notions, ideas, and considerations that arise from lived experience.
Yeah.
That's a direct quote, and it's crucial.
So based on someone's actual life.
Yes. The notes themselves say this is a way of seeing and feeling certain phenomena. It's not trying to lay down some definitive, rigid law. It's more like an invitation.
An invitation to see things differently.
Precisely. Inviting us to look at the world through a particular lens.
So definitely not a fixed dogma. And the source even acknowledges that, right? It mentions evolution.
It does. It says, like all living things, this perspective can evolve over time, become more refined, or even transform completely.
Which suggests a really dynamic kind of living understanding. It's not set in stone.
Exactly. So think of this deep dive not as us giving you the final answer, the textbook definition,
Right.
but more like an invitation to explore a powerful and, importantly, an evolving perspective.
Okay.
It's about sharing a specific way to view the world, to perceive certain patterns and meanings, rather than trying to assert some ultimate unchangeable reality.
That really underscores the idea that understanding is a journey, not a final destination.
And our source material really embraces that fluidity. It lets us consider these ideas with an open mind, maybe see them as tools for perception, rather than just facts to memorize.
Okay, with that crucial context that this is an evolving perspective based on experience, let's get into the heart of it. We've all felt that click, that resonance. But what exactly is synchronicity, according to these notes? What makes it different from just plain coincidence?
Well, the core definition from these notes describes synchronicity as the emergence of a meaningful coincidence between external events and internal states.
Okay, meaningful coincidence between outside and inside.
Exactly. And what's absolutely key here, where it really diverges from simple chance, is that there's no direct causal relationship.
Meaning, I didn't make the song play.
Right. You didn't make the song play those lyrics or cause your friend to appear just when you thought of them. Instead, there's what the notes call a symbolic or experiential connection that repeatedly generates meaning.
A symbolic connection, so it means something.
Yes, it's not just any coincidence. It's described as a convergence of seemingly unrelated elements, people, thoughts, emotions, events that become precisely intertwined in a given moment, revealing a pattern, a direction, or a response.
Yeah.
It's this moment of kind of profound alignment where your inner reality and the outer worlds perfectly echo each other.
That idea of meaning being the glue, not just randomness, that's fascinating. So what do these notes say is the ignition point for this? You mentioned something about an inner electrical current. Is that the trigger?
Yes, that's where it gets really interesting. The notes state that synchronicity arises when there is an inner electrical current, when something begins to circulate within.
An inner electrical current, like an energy.
Kind of. Imagine it like an internal circuit powering up, maybe, or a specific frequency being emitted from inside you.
Okay.
It's this energetic charge, this internal activation, perhaps a deep thought, a strong feeling, a profound inner question that then seems to manifest externally through these meaningful coincidences.
So the inner spark doesn't cause the outer event, like, dominoes falling.
Exactly. It's a nonlinear connection. The inner spark doesn't cause the event in a Newtonian sense, but they appear together, connected by a shared meaning or purpose that wasn't obvious before this inner activation.
Huh. It's almost like your inner state becomes magnetic, drawing things in.
That's a good way to think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it creates a field that draws relevant external pieces into alignment.
That's a powerful idea, almost counterintuitive, right? That something happening inside us could somehow spark something outside. Can you maybe give us another way to picture that?
Sure. Think of it like a musical note played really strongly on, say, a violin string.
Okay.
When that note vibrates powerfully, it can actually cause other strings nearby, if they're tuned to the same frequency, to vibrate too. Sympathetic resonance.
Oh, right, without touching them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that internal electrical current is like your deep inner note vibrating. When it resonates with something out there in the world, maybe another person's inner state, an event, a piece of information, boom, a synchronicity happens.
A moment of vibrational alignment.
Yeah, between your inner landscape and the vast outer reality.
Okay, that helps. So if this electrical current is within us, how does it connect to something bigger? The notes mention a field and this idea that everything is information. How do our little personal synchronicities fit into that larger picture?
Well, this leads us to a much broader, almost cosmic perspective that the notes propose. This idea, everything is information.
Everything is information. That sounds huge.
It is. It's not just poetic. It's suggesting a kind of radical redefinition of reality. Imagine the universe not primarily as solid stuff, but as this endlessly flowing, interconnected network of data.
Like a cosmic internet?
Sort of, yeah, but infinitely more complex and profound. We exist, these notes say, within a field of information of biblical magnitude likely infinite.
Wow. Okay, an infinite field of information.
Right, and within this vast, seemingly boundless field, synchronicity isn't just random magic. It's more like finding the perfect search result without even typing anything in. A hidden pattern revealing itself. It happens, the notes say, when invisible lines emerge, connecting scattered points like constellations in the sky.
Like finding hidden constellations and random stars. I like that.
Yeah, it's the appearance of a hidden pattern or meaning within chaos.
Okay.
So it implies it's not really random. It's an order emerging from what looks like disorder, revealing a deeper structure that was maybe always there, just waiting to be noticed.
Okay, finding constellations, discovering a secret map, and building on that, the notes also connect synchronicity to the union of opposites. That sounds pretty fundamental.
It does seem core to the idea here. The notes describe synchronicity at its heart as the union of opposites, chaos and order.
Chaos and order coming together.
Yes. Think of, say, a chaotic storm cloud and the focused, structured energy of a lightning bolt. When they meet, something powerful and new emerges.
Light energy.
Exactly. Similarly, these notes suggest that when seemingly opposite forces, like maybe our inner desire and some external seemingly chaotic event collide or align, a third element arises: light, purpose, meaning, or even existence.
So it's creative. It generates something new.
It seems so. It's presented as the universe's way of creating something new and meaningful out of what looks like disorder. It's not just balancing things out. It's about two seemingly opposing poles interacting and generating something genuinely new and significant.
And this happens, again, because of that internal electrical current.
Yes, that's the proposed mechanism. That internal activation, that energetic connection within us allows us to perceive or maybe even participate in this unfolding creative act.
So it's like chaos and order meet. Something meaningful is born. And this isn't just happening in our immediate world, but in some deeper, invisible terrain. That phrase really grabs me.
It does take us beyond everyday perception, doesn't it? Yeah. The notes suggest we don't just live and interact in the normal, tangible world we see.
Right.
We also move within a deeper, hidden, interconnected terrain where almost indescribable capacities operate.
Wi-Fi. You can't see it, but it connects everything.
That's a great analogy, actually. You can't see it, touch it, smell it, but it allows for connection and communication that wouldn't happen otherwise. This invisible terrain is maybe like that, an unseen underlying network.
A network connecting? What? Our intentions?
Possibly. A field where our intentions and inner states can subtly interact with others. almost like a pre-verbal communication layer.
Okay.
And in this context, synchronicities are seen as intersections of purpose between different people.
Intersections of purpose, so not just random meetings.
Not according to this view. They're moments where individual intentions, these inner movements, somehow align, facilitated by this unseen, interconnected substrate, creating a kind of purposeful collision, you might say.
This is all sounding very profound, maybe almost mystical. Can you give us a concrete example from the notes, something that shows how this might actually play out between people, just to make it a bit more grounded?
Absolutely. It's important because those personal stories make it click.
Yeah.
Okay, so the notes provide a compelling scenario. Imagine you've been wrestling with this deep personal impulse. Maybe you really want to change your life path, start that creative project you've dreamed about.
Okay, like writing a book or starting a business.
Exactly. You've felt this pull for weeks, maybe months, but you haven't actually told anyone. And completely independently, someone you know, let's call them person X, has been feeling the exact same inner pull towards the same kind of change or project, totally unbeknownst to you.
Wow, okay.
Then, maybe a few days later, you both just coincidentally happen to mention that very specific idea in conversation, and you suddenly realize you were both silently working on it or feeling it.
That aha moment.
Yes. The notes emphasize we only recognized it once we consciously admitted it. It's that shared aha that feels less like chance and much more like some kind of deep, invisible alignment of purpose.
Even before you spoke about it.
Exactly. Like two separate melodies suddenly realizing they're part of the same symphony.
That is a classic synchronicity example, isn't it? And it really does make you wonder about the bigger forces.
Which brings us to something else in the notes, this idea that the other does not exist, and questions about a universal order. That's a pretty bold statement, the other does not exist. What's that getting at?
Yeah, that needs careful unpacking. It's definitely provocative. The notes connect synchronicity to this profound but symbolic idea. The other does not exist.
Symbolically, so not literally.
Absolutely not literally. It's crucial to understand it's not suggesting other people aren't real or that we're all just one blob. Not at all.
Okay, good. So what does it mean?
It implies that at a deeper, interconnected level, that invisible terrain level, perhaps our individual paths and purposes aren't truly separate or isolated.
Ah, interconnectedness.
Yes, it's about recognizing that, as the notes put it, my relationship with the other carries a purpose, a code, a hidden impulse that fits perfectly with the others, like pieces of a puzzle.
Like we're all pieces in a larger puzzle, and we fit together meaningfully. That's the implication. It suggests this kind of universal tapestry where each thread, while looking distinct, is actually intimately woven into the whole pattern. It points to a profound interconnectedness that maybe transcends our everyday feeling of separation.
Okay.
And from that idea, it then poses these two really big, thought-provoking questions. Questions about agency and design.
What are they?
It asks, is there an impulse from the universal order that draws us to synchronize? Basically, is something out there pulling the strings?
Ooh.
Or are we, through our inner impulses, unconscious until recognized, the ones who feed that universal order? Are we the source, contributing to this larger pattern through our own inner stirrings?
Wow. So top down or bottom up, or both?
Exactly. It doesn't give a definitive answer. It just leaves you to contemplate that relationship, our connection to a larger whole, and whether we're just recipients or maybe active co-creators of this whole synchronistic order.
Okay, so if these meaningful connections are happening and we're potentially part of this bigger order, is it just stuff that happens to us? Or do we actually have a role in noticing them, becoming aware? The notes seem to hint our attention is key.
Yes, absolutely key. What's fascinating here is the emphasis that synchronicity isn't just something that passively happens out there. It also depends on how we perceive and from where we are paying attention.
How we perceive.
Yeah. You could say the field of information, this infinite network, is always active. It's always transmitting signals, maybe.
But we don't always notice.
Exactly. We're not always available to read it. It's like the signals they're faint radio waves, a Wi-Fi network constantly broadcasting, but one needs a certain internal tuning to notice them.
Internal tuning, like adjusting a radio dial.
That's a good way to put it. The note suggests that a small shift in how we pay attention, an opening, an emotional or conceptual crack, can turn what was once noise into message.
So it's not about forcing meaning onto everything.
No, definitely not about becoming paranoid or seeing signs everywhere. It's more subtle. It's about recognizing that, in certain moments, one becomes a receptor of something broader,
Okay.
So synchronicity, in this view, is not only an external event with meaning, but also a subjective state of availability that allows it. Our inner state matters.
Our availability.
Yes. And the notes connect this to flexibility. The more rigid we are, the fewer synchronicities arise. The more receptive, flexible, and aligned we are with something genuine, the more the world begins to speak.
So our inner state is like an antenna.
That's a perfect metaphor. If our antenna is rigid, blocked, pointed the wrong way, we miss the signals. But if we allow ourselves to be open, present, maybe the world does start communicating in these subtle ways.
Maybe it's about learning to listen differently.
Perhaps. The notes end that thought with learning to listen without anxiety for meaning, allowing insights rather than demanding signs.
That's a powerful idea, our internal state influencing what we even perceive. It puts some agency back with us. Now, speaking of counterintuitive stuff, these notes mention a paradox of not seeking. How does that fit in? Sounds contradictory. If you want these meaningful connections, shouldn't you look for them?
Right. It does sound paradoxical. And this is maybe one of the most curious aspects of this whole perspective. The notes state clearly, synchronicity does not obey direct control. It cannot be forced or fabricated.
You can't make it happen on demand.
Exactly. In fact, it suggests the more we chase it, the more it slips away. It doesn't respond well to a superficial desire to just get signs, like, asking the universe to show you a feather if you should take the job.
Okay, so it's not a personalized oracle.
Apparently not. Instead, the notes say it arises when one is committed to something real, when there is a sincere inner movement, a deep decision, an existential need.
So it comes when you're genuinely engaged in something important within yourself.
That seems to be the core idea. When you're truly involved in an authentic inner process, a deep inquiry, a life-changing choice, a commitment to growth, that's when the environment seems to respond in these meaningful ways.
It's like the universe, or that information field, responds to deep coherence, not just wishful thinking.
Exactly. It does not respond to surface-level will, but to a deeper inner coherence. That's a key phrase. And this, the notes suggest, is why the most powerful synchronicities often happen. When one stops obsessively seeking answers.
When you let go of the desperate search.
When one expects nothing, or when one genuinely surrenders to an action, a process, or a transformation.
Surrenders to the process.
Yes. So in that sense, synchronicity does not reward the one who waits passively. It accompanies the one who moves.
Accompanies the one who moves. I like that.
It's about authentic action, genuine engagement with life, not just waiting around or trying to force things. It really suggests that true alignment comes from within, from that deep inner coherence, not from trying to manipulate the outside world.
Wow. What a deep dive this has been into a truly mind-bending topic. We've gone from defining these meaningful coincidences linked to an inner electrical current to this vast field of information where chaos and order somehow unite to create meaning.
And our own crucial role in even noticing these patterns through our availability, our attention, our inner state.
Right. And exploring that profound idea that maybe our paths are more intertwined than we think. And finally, this paradox that true synchronicities seem to arise not from desperately seeking, but from genuine inner movement.
And if we connect all that back to the bigger picture, and especially that initial note we started with.
Right, the source perspective.
Yeah, it really underscores that understanding synchronicity isn't about finding some fixed final truth.
Like we said, not a textbook.
Exactly. It's about embracing an evolving perspective, one rooted in experience. It's a way of seeing that emphasizes inner alignment, genuine commitment, and noticing this subtle responsiveness from the world around us.
A living concept.
Definitely. Continuously refining as we experience and reflect. It offers this lens, really, to view life's apparent randomness as maybe part of a deeper, meaningful design that we co-create.
Okay. And as always, we want to leave you, our listener, with a thought to sort of mull over after this deep dive. Thinking about that final idea that synchronicity accompanies the one who moves and responds to deeper inner coherence rather than just surface will. What inner electrical current might you be cultivating right now?
Or what genuine inner movement are you committed to?
Exactly. Something that could potentially open you up to new, meaningful connections that maybe you haven't consciously recognized yet.
Perhaps the universe or that field is already speaking.
Maybe it's simply a matter of tuning in, finding that right internal frequency to hear its subtle, profound symphony.